This week on Just Jason Keto and More, we're making pastrami and Swiss cheese melts on rye bread inspired chaffles. So let's get started. What's up everyone? Just Jason here. Welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, we're going to make some rye bread inspired chaffles. And then we're going to use those chaffles to make Swiss pastrami melts out of them. So this recipe is a little bit more involved than my typical chaffle recipe. As you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that most of my chaffle recipes are fairly simple. I like to make them easy and quick. But this is one I wanted to try for a while. It's been done many times by other channels, but I wanted to give it a try. It is a basic chaffle recipe with 1 egg. And then we've got 2/3 of a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese here. But we are going to add some onion powder, some garlic powder here as well. And then of course we've got some Redmond's real salt and some cracked black pepper. That's what I've got in these dishes here. And then to make it rye bread inspired, we're just going to use some of these caraway seeds here. And that's what I've got in this dish. So basically we're going to mix all this together, and then we're going to make the 2 chaffles, and then we're going to put some pastrami and Swiss cheese on them and melt them under the broiler. And I can't wait to try them. I'm sure they're going to turn out really good. So let's get set up and we'll get mixing. Okay, to get started here, like I was saying before, it starts off as a basic chaffle recipe. We have our 1 large egg. We have our 2/3 of a cup of cheese. We're gonna add some of our garlic powder and onion powder into here. Not too much, but again, this is all to taste. You want more or less. Obviously you can add more garlic and onion and salt and pepper. This is just to my taste. It's really just a pinch of each. We're gonna add that in there, and then we'll add the caraway seeds as well. You know, you're looking at maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon here. I don't want to go too overboard on that, but again, if you like the spice that it gives your chaffles, then by all means add you know, more into it, or if you want to add less, that's perfectly fine as well. This is going to make 2 chaffles, so we're going to wind up with 2 melts out of this. You know, obviously you could make this just into your typical, even make it into a Reuben sandwich if you want to add like sauerkraut and mustard to your pastrami and Swiss, but I'm just going to keep it fairly simple, and we'll just make the chaffles, and then we'll put pastrami and Swiss on each one and then melt it under the broiler. And anticipating that it'll turn out really good. It's nice pastrami that I've picked up from a deli, so I'm not really into making my own pastrami, but this is good quality. So that's all mixed in there. So what we'll do is we'll get the Dash Minis warmed up. We'll get these chaffles cooked, and we'll continue on. Okay, so the Dash Minis are all warmed up here, preheated, ready to go. So we're going to distribute the rye bread inspired chaffle mix in here evenly, or as even as possible kind of thing. Again, we're only making enough to do 2 chaffles out of this. If you wanted to increase the number of chaffles you get out of it, obviously all you have to do is, if you wanted to double it, you'd use 2 eggs and twice the amount of cheese. So we'll get this going here so that we can get them cooking. You can already smell that caraway seed in the chaffles. It gives it like a nice anise aroma that's really going to help with the flavor of these chaffles. So that's all evenly mixed in there. So we'll close up the Dash Minis, and we'll come back in 4 to 5 minutes when they're done. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes that these chaffles have been cooking, so let's open these up. Take a look. It smells really good in here. That caraway seed gives it a real nice aroma, plus the onion and garlic, of course. You can see they cooked up really nice and brown. They make really good buns for these melts that we're making. So we're going to take the chaffles and we're going to set them aside on a wire rack and let them cool off a little bit. And then we'll come back in a couple of minutes and we'll put together these pastrami and Swiss melts. Okay, so our rye bread inspired chaffles here have cooled off a little bit. So I'm going to just put them on my pan for my toaster oven / air fryer. And then we're going to bring in the pastrami and Swiss here. Again, this was a nice sliced pastrami that I got from a local deli kind of thing. So we're going to add a couple of slices of this pastrami onto each chaffle. Just make sure to stack that up there so we got lots of good bites spread out. And then I've got some Swiss cheese here. This is some nice German Swiss cheese. I'm actually just going to break it in half a little bit just so it fits on top and doesn't all melt off the sides when we put it under the broiler. Now again, you could add any other kind of condiment you want to this. You know, if you wanted to put sauerkraut on it or some grainy mustard, by all means. This is just a blank slate for you to work off of. Again, most of my recipes, that's the way I like to do them, just to give you an idea what you could do with these this type of ingredients. So I'm going to get these under the broiler and we'll bring them back when they're all nice and melted. Okay, so our pastrami and Swiss cheese melts have been in the broiler or under the broiler for, it only took 3 or 4 minutes. Smells really good, and as you can see, that Swiss cheese melted up really nice on there, and the pastrami crisped up on the edges. So let's quit messing around here and give these a try. Okay, so I would definitely say that those are a win. I give that one 2 thumbs up. Great taste in those chaffles. You get the caraway seed, you get the garlic and the onion, and then of course the pastrami and melted Swiss. We can't really go wrong with those. So if you like the videos, please hit that like button, consider subscribing, and turn on notifications so that you won't miss next week's chaffle recipe. You come back and see what we come up with for that video. So until then, keep on thriving, my friends.